Boom! We are ready. What's up, chat? Man, is it over? Is it over? Everybody's asking, is it over? I don't know, man. Almost soon enough. It will soon be over. I think so. We'll see. We'll see. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate everybody hopping in. As always, I got my boy here in the background. Where you at? There he is. Boom. What's up, man? Happy
What is up?
happy
Are we back? Are
Monday.
we cooked? Are
I
we
don't
back? Are we cooked? Are we back? It's back and forth.
We'll see. We'll see. I will say this. So what I will say is that Friday. So we're gonna go through a couple things today. I think number one, if you didn't know, the biggest day of the month is on Friday. That's non-farm payrolls, right? We have a lot of stuff coming up. There's like GTC from NVIDIA. There's a lot of stuff on the horizon. February is over. It is typically one of the worst months, second worst month of the year. So we've more or less made it through that. Can we go lower? We can go lower, but I do think I do think we're closer to the end. I'm not in the camp where like this is a bear market by any means. And I think that what we can say is that Friday's price action definitively looks like, to me, looks like short covering, right? So, I think that a lot of the market participants, especially newer traders, might be a little spoiled with what we call like V recoveries. I don't know that we're gonna get that. The best thing that we could see right now is a little bit of chop, a little bit of sideways action. And I think that's actually ideal, right? Palantir, crazy relative strength today. Yeah. Palantir might be one, or maybe it bottoms, maybe hoodie bottoms, maybe. But to expect them to go boom straight to the up and the right, I don't know how healthy that would be, anyways, right? So, there's some wild stuff, some crazy crypto shenanigans. I'm gonna get right into it, guys. If you don't know what we do here, every Monday at the lunch hour, what we do is we kind of just go over what happened last week from an economic standpoint. Emp is going to highlight some of our pals over at Lux Algo. They do an amazing catalyst watch, so we'll get you ready for the week. But with that said, I mean, look, we got NFP and we got we got Powell versus Angry Bears. Actually, Powell, I think, is talking this Friday. So not only do we have
Same
non-farm
day as
payrolls,
NFP, yeah.
yeah, not only do we have non-farm payrolls, then we have Powell right after, which is it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild. But Friday is gonna set the tone for the entire month. Here's what I have in terms of an economic perspective. Some funkiness, but when you look inside, I'm gonna highlight a couple different things. So number one, consumer confidence. Look, Chicago Board consumer confidence. This was probably the biggest drop it was the biggest drop in the last 3.5 years. These are backwards looking. So if this is as low as it's gotten in a while, it might be time to maybe start. And I think this is what you're seeing. Start covering some of those shorts, right? GDP first revision Q4 outlook coming at 2.3 versus 3.1. Again, 3.1 is anything over 2 is okay. 2.5 is like Goldilocks. But I believe the market's wanting a little bit more, and to see that GDP revisions. So first of all, they're just revisions. Just revisions, like we'll see, right? Core price index, again, slightly lower. That's inflation. And this is where it got kind of interesting to me. So personal income, now mind you, personal income was expected to be, and that's what I have in parentheses. That's where the street numbers are in parentheses. Where we came in is right next to it. Personal income, the street was expecting personal income to go up 0.3%. It actually went up a little bit less, 0.09%, but nonetheless, personal spending, and this is where the key is, personal spending was expected to be up in kind. So if personal income was going to go up, the street was expecting personal spending to go up about the same amount, but it went down. So people are making little bit more money, but they're not spending it. So that's good for inflation. That's good for the credit situation. That's actually pretty decent, and it ends up being the first fall in the last like 2 years. So first negative print in like 2 years. So that's actually constructive when you really look into the more forward looking data points. When you're looking at, you know, backward looking things like consumer confidence, PCE, like all that kind of stuff. Those were not so good. But again, they're more backwards looking. So just keep that in mind. So PC actually coming in 0.2 versus 0.3 expected. Year over year coming in a little bit hotter or a little bit cooler. So it looks like 2.6. Some of the headlines, if you didn't see the Trump Zelensky shouting match, hey, not going to get too much into it. But yeah, this is crazy, right? So it's crazy shouting match on Friday. The market was all over the place, really like dumpy until like the last 30 minutes of the day, which happens to be the last 30 minutes of the month, right before we get into March. And we have all this tariff stuff also. So Canada, Mexico tariffs to take effect, and then additional 10% tax on Chinese imports. And the other headline really is like home prices. So the home builders have been absolutely shellacked, but the inventories are actually starting to go up. So that may be ahead, like something to watch in terms of like a potential turnaround area. And to me, kind of interesting, right? So from a seasonal perspective, listen, I've shown this chart almost like weekly since the beginning, right? We are firmly here. This is February. So February, and usually March starts to turn around, but it's not like a boom V recovery. I think that after non-farm payrolls on Friday, so not this week, but next week, we're really going to have a better tell. For me, definitively, and I have a hard line on the market whether or not we're ready to roll or not, and at what point we're ready to roll. But with that, Emp, I'm gonna end my screen share. If you're ready on your end, I do want to hit some catalyst watches. We do have some earnings stuff to take a look at. But if you're not following Lux Algo, again, I mean, these guys do a great job every week. It's LUXALGO. Give them a follow for sure. Amazing little memes. We love Lux. But here's their
I liked your cover, but I also like this one where JD Vance is about to just go off on Powell and Mrs. Zelensky conference. Like
yeah,
this was a nice touch from them this week. They always do really good on these
dude, that
intros.
too funny. BK rocks, dude. But anyways, yeah, go ahead, hit us with what we got going on today or this
All
week.
right, so coming into Monday, you'll notice there's not near as many chilies, as many little spicy
Phillies,
notes
yeah.
on this week until the end of the week. Now, the end of the week, I told him it should have been 5, but either way, we'll see. We'll see how we get there. But we want to take a look at Monday first. We did have some data coming out this morning. Nothing really that just jumps out at me. I know on the earnings stuff, some people will look at HUT, some people will look this afternoon. ASTS has been talked a lot about. GitLab's been talked a lot about. Okta, you see some of these names on FinTwit. So those are some FinTwit names that are reporting this afternoon. Tuesday, the tariff. So you kind of hinted at this a little bit, but
Yeah.
the old T word, they are supposed to go into effect tomorrow. Now there's still ongoing talks there, but the little news headlines I saw this morning were basically, hey, tomorrow morning we're going ahead with it. That's the plan. So just definitely keep a watch on that. Keep a watch on your headlines as always. I mean, I know most of you guys are doing that anyway, but tariffs supposed to start. These are the big ones, right? Canada and Mexico are two neighbors. The big tariffs supposed to go into effect tomorrow. So we'll see what happens there. Fed Williams speech in the afternoon. We'll see. We'll see. The Fed speak has been kind of wish-washy lately. I don't know. I hadn't caught anything like of any importance out of any Fed speakers the last couple of weeks. Couple earnings on shoes. I know some people watch that. Target, CrowdStrike.
Dude, I'm telling you, I got new shoes, and I went and I looked at those shoes. I just couldn't do it, man. I don't
I
know.
like them.
I don't know what the hype
I have a
is.
pair. I like them. They're comfortable.
I just
Did you
couldn't get
try them
there.
on?
No, dude, I couldn't even get to
Okay,
trying them on. I
that's the
looked at
thing.
them and I'm like, um,
That's the key.
uh,
It's like wearing a Croc tennis shoe. They're super comfortable, but not for everyone. I get it. I get it. Wednesday, ADP non-farm employment, you see one little chilly there. That is probably the biggest thing outside of the jobs report Friday that we'll see on the macro front. Some other factory orders, S&P stuff. Some of the stuff will come through. You'll see like short-term volatility when some of this comes out, just like we saw this morning, 9:45 and 10. We had a little bit of data come out. Some earnings, MongoDB,
What's that meta
Marvell.
CPO? What CPO? Chief Product Officer? Speaks
Chief
what?
Product Officer speaking, which I noticed this wasn't on here, but I believe NVIDIA is speaking at a healthcare conference about some AI healthcare stuff today at some point.
Gotcha.
I just happened to see that somewhere else, but Meta CPO speaking 12:15 on Wednesday. I'm sure that's at some type of conference. I can do some looking here in a minute and see if I can find out what that actually is. But yeah, ANF, there you go. That was a good trade for you recently. Well, ANF. Um, as far as earnings go on Wednesday,
Ooh,
I think as
Mongo.
you see us, yeah, MongoDB and Marvell both. Rigetti, this was kind of one of those quantum names that'll be interesting to see. Some people still keeping an eye on that sector. But you'll notice throughout this week, there's not going to be a whole lot on this until we get to Friday. So let's move on to Thursday, the ECB interest rate decision. So the European Bank, we'll see what happens there. Will they cut rates again? Will they hold steady? I think most of it is looking for a cut. I can verify that here in a second as well. Jobless claims, U.S. trade balance. So you're getting some macro, you're getting some outside factors in the market still, but nothing that's just going to crazily get the market excited, in my opinion. Couple what's that, three Fed speakers basically. A couple of them are at night, so not really something to worry about during the day, but obviously might get some stuff at night. Costco and Broadcom earnings as well coming in on Thursday afternoon. I know some people trade JD, that's a China name. They're in the morning on Thursday, which will probably be
Broadcom might
actually
be a big one, actually.
overnight.
Yeah.
This is a big one. Yeah, this is the big, to me, this is the biggest earnings of the week. Costco, just we get kind of like whatever monthly updates on their numbers. So like
Yeah.
there's usually not a big surprise in Costco's numbers, but they do talk some about the consumer and what they're seeing out there. So, something to think about with Costco earnings, but Broadcom, I think, is your biggest earnings of the week. And then this is where this, in my opinion, should be like three of these at least, five combined. I don't know, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. But Friday, this is the look at all the
Holy
Fed.
moly.
So you've got non-farm payrolls, which any of you that have been around paper streams, you know that this is a massive data point, probably arguably the most important data point that comes out each and every month on the first Friday. You'll get the unemployment rate as well, average hourly earnings, and then we have a litany of Fed speakers, and then of
How many
course
is
right
that? We
here,
got like one, two.
one, two, three,
Oh, it's a
four,
policy report.
five, all throughout. Yeah, you have a policy report. You've got one, two, three, four plus Powell speaking at 12:30 Eastern. So that's a spicy day there on Friday.
Yeah. That is wild. Consumer credit balances. I mean, geez. I'm looking at all this stuff. Yeah, I don't know how many we have net for the day. Here, I'm gonna pull over to appreciate that emp. This is just the earnings calendar really quick. It's weird, I'm looking around. I'm actually short. Ooh, you didn't see that. I'm actually short some of these retailers right now. I think the tariff stuff is probably getting to them. We'll see. So Target, I think Target was starting to bounce a little bit. It's been pretty beaten down. Oh God, man, yeah, I'm looking at a lot of stuff. A lot of these things bounce in the pre-market and then poof, just selling it off to about the halfway point though. So I think that gives you kind of a neutral outlook. Okta, oh man, Okta, I feel like is kind of fully valued. We'll see. CrowdStrike was not on the list. CrowdStrike Tuesday after the close. That's a big one.
CrowdStrike was on the list. Yeah, I mentioned that one.
Oh yeah,
CrowdStrike's
okay.
the other. To me, that for that data is a bit. Broadcom's probably the biggest one of the week, but CrowdStrike is a big one for. I mean, that sector, and you know this sector very well,
Yeah.
Paper. That's been a very popular, a very hot sector. They have a very, very good looking chart. Recently broke out.
Yeah, a couple things I can tie in. So CrowdStrike and Zscaler are direct, or not direct, but they're linked pretty heavily. CrowdStrike, same thing, Palo Alto. Zscaler is actually more of a direct competitor to Palo Alto than it is CrowdStrike, but all three of those, Pan, CrowdStrike, and Zscaler, those will trade together. Dropbox, I don't know who uses Dropbox anymore. Just look at this. Marvell, a lot of people bullish on Marvell. The semis are having a hard time. JD's interesting. I mean, we saw Baba kind of get. Oh, I'm actually short Baba right now too. I can probably cover. It looks sideways. I don't want to be in the chop. So Baba had a good report, but instantly sold off right after that. Maybe we see some of the same. I'd just be really careful. It's more about how the market's going to digest these moves. And again, Costco rarely has an outsized move, so I'll probably be short premium on that guy, as normal.
Well, that's what I was saying, because Costco, every month we get their sales update, right? How they're doing in the actual numbers of the stores and stuff. So you get what, 50% of most earnings you get on a monthly basis updated from them.
Yeah, look at this. So like there's a lot of stuff. Tom Lee is bottom ticking this week. Yeah, I think that's possible, right? If you want to go ahead and front run it, we can. And honestly, by the time I say like, hey, it's ready to roll, I have no interest in trying to bottom tick a market in general. So that's just me. So I'm happy to go long higher than here, if that makes sense. So, and again, we're doing a lot of like training and stuff in the mastermind right now. If you're looking at options, guys, I'm just gonna tell you here now, even if you get like the first bounces, you got to be really careful because volatility is really high right now. It's better to kind of wait for a lot of that to burn off and then actually start getting long. Or you might find yourself having to trade around some core positions, which isn't always the most fun thing. But go ahead and drop some tickers in the chat if you guys are interested. We'll take a look at those in a little bit. But first and foremost, we gotta check in with our good old friend Miss Cleo. So I've not actually looked at this yet. Did you look at this yet? So this is the reading.
No, not. I price for right. You get the
Yeah, so
real
this is the
reaction.
reading. It looks like a lot of cups. A lot of cups. So the theme card is the 3 of cups. It's a 3. Then 6 of cups. Let me go 10. So 3, 6, 10, queen. That's into Wednesday. Is there anything?
I'm just looking at Friday with swords
Is there
laid
anything
down.
happening Wednesday? Yeah, and then
Oh
4 of
no.
coins. That doesn't seem very strong.
Who laid down their
Is
sword
that
and gave
are
up?
they?
That's the
Is that
only
like the
thing that I see
battle's
here that just
over? I
immediately
don't
going to.
know. 4, 5. So
Somebody's giving up on Friday after the jobs report.
yeah,
I don't
this
know
is
who, but
Tuesday.
somebody is.
Friday looks like an amazing day. We're partying, going to see the queen.
We're so back.
We're
You're gonna
so
see
back.
tweets
We're
everywhere.
so
We're so
back.
back.
And then shellac? I don't know. This is very interesting.
That's the tax
Oh
collector coming out.
God. Oh
There's
yeah, we have tax season
Zacchaeus.
coming too. Did you pay your taxes yet? I'm already in there. But anyways, this is he's on no.
Wow.
This is what she has to say. Like I said, I haven't read this. So theme card is the 3 of cups. Check out the number of cups cards in play this week. Yeah, we saw that. Imply emotional journeys. Cups imply emotional makes sense. Rather than financial. Okay. So emotional roller coaster, not necessarily financial. Does that mean trappy? I don't know. Look for patterns to emerge from that. We have ourselves a real rarity here. Okay. This card has not been drawn that much at all, which means we're running on keywords and intent rather than historical data. We had death last week, and it seemed to play out. Yeah, it did. As early week selling gave way to late week recovery. I mean, talk about a late week recovery. Like
We do
late, right?
late week recovery, but yeah, we didn't mention this. Last week, we talked about that death card, and we were worried about it. This was, on
Dude,
Monday, and sure enough, gosh, look what happened the
I
rest of the
gotta
week.
say,
That was
yeah,
Miss
she
Cleo
did nail
nailed
it
it.
last week for sure. So the 3 says we're starting over after death and beginning something new. Okay, I'm good with that. On the surface, this is a positive card full of celebration and good tidings. Wow. Okay. The only concern I have is that it can also lead to distraction. Well, crypto was a distraction this morning. I don't know how's that doing today. We'll take a look at that. So let's see what the daily cards have to say about it. All right. So Monday is the 6 of Cups. That was today. Is today. There's a lot of data on this one. There isn't a lot of data on this one either, but its keywords suggest a longing for better or simpler days, reminiscing, so to speak. Well, you were probably reminiscing if you were just looking at the pre-market and thinking, "Hey, it's all over, right? We're back to green." Not quite. Almost, not quite. It often manifests continuation, which means we should see dips supported on Monday, which I'm thinking we do. However, not expecting much other than a bit of chop. Well, that's I would say she's spot on so far. Tuesday is the 10 of Cups. This whole move, 6-10 to Queen, appears to be an obvious series. Same suit also. I'm expecting some sort of panic or euphoria that culminates on Wednesday in the form of a pivot. Okay. The nature of this card, like the theme card, is positive. If Monday is positive, then the pattern I see is bulls getting cocky. Oh, we should have the sun card, right? Like when you're flying too close to the sun. Um, is bulls getting cocky and thinking the pain is over. This could set them up for pain, but we'll see. I'm expecting continuation. I would not fade it. Continuation from Monday, most likely. Wednesday is the Queen of Cups. This should bring finality to our series and may leave us prone to some weakness. She can inspire charity and generosity in others, which means we could get lucky with a moon. We could get lucky with a moon move. Is it a full moon or something? I don't know. However, I think we'll start to feel the energy shift a bit. It's common to feel that on Wednesdays, anyways. If there's continuation, which I expect in the morning at least, do not chase this day. It's a good time to take profit on your swings. All right.
So she's basically calling for this dead cat
Through
bounce through
Wednesday.
Wednesday. That's what it
Yeah.
sounds like to me.
Thursday. So we're resetting back to a 4, which suggests a new journey in another direction. The 4 of coins says we're clutching too tightly to our money. Oh, yeah. So you're diamond handing too much and are stuck in place as a result. It's negative for the most part, but not bearish. All right, I can get with that. I think that's how the market's been actually. Negative, but not ultra bearish. And we'll go through that too. Play for trend, but don't linger too long if it doesn't manifest. Do not like playing this card because it's too unpredictable for Miss Cleo's taste. So take it so there's that, right? I'm not gonna listen to her. I'm not gonna listen to her. Friday's a 5 of Swords. This card loves to show up right when we've gotten comfortable. Oh, son of a biscuit. You might have been right. Oh shit. There it is. A trap will be set. There it is. And there's a high chance of mean reversion. So this is really interesting. I don't know if it's going to be mean reversion on Friday or maybe after.
So maybe Friday morning jobs report
Yeah, that's what I'm
sets
saying.
the
Like,
trap.
and it's reversed, right? Interestingly enough, this card does borrow energy from the prior day, meaning trend brings trend in the opposite direction. Chop brings chop. Chop brings chop. You get the idea. I'm trying to get the idea, Miss Cleo. I'm not really sure I understand. Trend brings trend in the opposite direction. I don't. Okay. So maybe it's a gap down and rally. That would make a lot more sense to me. Maybe it's a gap up and fade. Either way, that's kind of what I'm thinking she's saying. That doesn't mean trading will be easy on Friday. Look for not just one trap. Oh my God, but several set throughout the day. So I don't think I'm going to trade on Friday. We'll see. It'll be a regular day, but it's all about next week, boys and girls. That's what's true. The recap, what does she say here? So recap is wild, right? Potential for a 3-day series, Monday through Wednesday. Cool. And then some mean reversion to close the week. There will be celebrations for one camp.
That's that Friday card with the one guy standing there victorious with his sword, and somebody gives up. Somebody lays their sword down and
Yikes,
retreats.
yikes.
Who's it going to be? Is it going to be the Bulls from early this week, or is it going to be the Bears
Oh
from a week and a
man,
half ago?
I don't like that. So here's what we're gonna do. I have been starting out. I think I like to start this with wow, I don't know what chart this is, but this is really funny. Whatever chart I have on, I have a line that says Death Valley bottom. I don't know what that's from, but holy crap, that's way low down there, 400s. Anyways, this is the weekly structure, so I'm just gonna start it out here. Yeah, I
Death
don't.
Valley.
You can see I've been trading for a minute. We actually don't have any major break in structure, and that's what's kind of keeping me like I know that we're coming down on the weekly series, but we're very close, and we actually just tagged this like late last Friday, and just to rally up. If you connect these two lows here on the daily, like this is the weekly count, so we're going down directional too. But as for right now, I would say that you can actually check this right, boom, across where as long as we're over this level. So this is going to be what? This is going to be 582, right at last week's lows. We're kind of holding, and if I do bring this over just slightly, you can kind of see, hey, look, we're actually basing right here. We've hit this level a handful of times. It's not until when we do get into the daily count, when we look at this a little bit closer, that you're like, oh, it could have gotten real rough, right? If we were going lower, if we're below 580, then what I'll say in from a index perspective is that we have some legitimate damage, right? But until then, we're really not quite done. Like we're not. It's not like we're breaking anything major, right? I'm just gonna grab this. These are my NFP levels. So to me, this is super important. What's gonna happen here is Friday we're gonna reset. We're basically gonna get an additional level. But if we're below 588, it's very likely like a daily open below, which we have not had. We had one daily open below, but a daily close above. So this 588 level, if you zoom across, it's coming from this NFP day right here. And if you're not familiar with how these days work, this really like creates the trend, right? So if we're having multiple days closing above or below, it's this. This is February's non-farm payroll day right here, right in here. The day that we failed, we did get, what do we get? 1, 2. We actually got 3 days opening over, and then all of a sudden we started to come back in, and then we flushed right back through. So if we go through some of these levels, we're actually going to hit them pretty quickly. But as long as we're in between these two boxes on my screen, I think we're pretty neutral. So upside is 600 right now. Downside is going to be 588. I think we're firmly in that box, at least until Friday, which means that if we do see like any opportunity down towards these 588s, I think that becomes buyable in the meantime, right? So seeing a little bit of a potential dead cat bounce here today, and again, going back to this daily trend, if I break this down, we did technically break just slightly. Here's this trend line. I can get on it. Anyways, it's close enough. We held it, but we are not out of the weeds yet. We're right back, retesting the bottom of that. This blue line is a 50-day simple moving average. White line is it's 20-day simple moving average. But a chop in this area, in the zone, I think is par for the course right here. So I'd actually like to see it go a little bit more sideways. Let's see. I do need to get to average week ranges, which are not showing up on my screen just yet. There you go. So an average week's range for the index is actually right in here. I have a study on my chart that's showing this, but this I'm going to make this orange. So this orange box here, this is average week's range to the upside from where we are right now. It just brings us right back to the top of that overhead resistance. So again, if we do see the market up in this area, I would tend to expect to fade that for now. And again, downside is that 588 area, just like we were testing with before. So I think this week is probably pretty choppy. I hope it's not trappy, but Ms. Cleo is saying by the end of the week, it might be trappy. Trappy would look like there's a difference between choppy and trappy. I think that all of this has been choppy. I've not been trapped into thinking that we're out of the box or anything like that. Trappy is more like you actually do breach the box and then come back in, right? In one direction or the other, right? So trappy could look like this. And then you're right back in. So, yeah, that's what she's saying for Friday. I would just be really, really cautious. But right now, look, we are firmly in the middle of the box. And I think that we continue to stay within this range, at least for this week. So probably some good iron condors available out there, especially with VIX being a little bit more elevated right now. So that's SPY right now. I think, again, 588 is going to be like my line in the sand. Anything lower, like if we get a daily open and close below that, then the downside target here is going to be to 570s and really this larger skew of boxes down here. So that would be maximum downside, I think, for even for March to me, which would put you right around the 200-day simple moving average. But that said, I think, where we are here, we're a little bit over halfway done in my mind, right? Assuming that we can hold over 588, that's going to be crucial. So again, even if we pull back a little bit, I don't think any damage is necessarily been done, but I do see the possibility of actually getting that kind of retest and holding. That might be a better long in my mind for where we are. Qs is going to be somewhat similar. Let me just I got to pull up a different chart here. This is the actual chart that I'm using. So Qs here, I think kind of similar. This box is an average weekly range. This is getting tighter and tighter, huh? Wow. Very close to that 200-day simple. I'm just going to do a quick weekly check. Very similar. So no major damage done just yet. If I take that right there on the weekly, that's where we are. And honestly, that's normally where you want to be getting long, but it's a little bit tough. From an index perspective, this does not look bad, but we could have another. I think this is setting up almost exactly like what Ms. Cleo is saying, where it looks like we're coming out of the weeds just to retest that one more time. I think a big move is coming. I do think a big move is coming. We've been consolidating for a very long time at the index level for about how long now? I'd say like a month.
Like 3 months.
Oh, 3 months? Well over a month.
Really, if you go back to
That is an
like
average.
December.
Oh, yeah. 3 months we've been in the exact same place. So to expect that the VIX is elevated would be stupid. To see the VIX should not be elevated at all at this price because we've been literally here. Yeah, for the better part of a year. Has it been a year? Wow.
That's last summer's highs.
Wow. All right.
Where we're sitting right now. Yeah.
We've gone nowhere for a very long time. This is an average week's range here on the Qs. Again, upside targets would just bring us right back to the top of the box, right in here. Anything higher than that, I expect it to fall. And then downside actually takes us down to this 200-day simple, which I don't personally like trading the 200 days like as a hard line in the sand. I think that you tend to breach them a little bit, which to the downside here on the Qs would for March take you down to like 480s. But again, we're going to get new levels set up sooner than later. So Friday, we're going to kind of reset and have another range, which by the looks of this might be smack dab in between 510 and 490. Unfortunately.
That's what I am worried about. You're showing this on your chart right now, but I'm worried about all the lows that we were holding before, basically today's high being a
Yeah,
backtest of some of that. So
it is.
that's my concern. SPY looks a little bit better than tech right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's all, and on the other shows that we do, it's been just like take a, what's the word? I would say it's been better to like take it day by day right now, right? And I think that's just what's true. If you look at everything like in its own right as its own type of trade, honestly, that's kind of what you have to do, right? Because like, it's very possible that we start to see some dead cat bounces. And someone in the server was saying the other day, like, hey, look, I haven't heard anyone say that term in a long time since we've been like trending for a very long time, like for a very, very long time. So
That's a valid point right there too. We haven't
yeah,
had an opportunity to have a dead cat bounce in quite a while.
yeah, I totally forgot. Someone told me how to take after hours off of my TOS and I just forgot. Oh man. Was it price axis? I want to look at the internals really quick. Shit. Here's what I can do. What's a new layout? I'm going to do a new layout. I haven't done in a long time. So I'm just going to put SPY here. I'm just going to make this a clean SPY layout. No drawings or anything like that. Hopefully this works. No, it's not going to work. I was hoping that I could see it cleaner. All right, well, I cannot. So what I'll do is I'm just going to pull this over. So really quick, this is just a 15-minute on SPY, just a quick internals check. So what we saw, this is inflows. So VOLD is net flows. So basically what I'm looking at here is really like, okay, up volume minus down volume. And this is Friday. Like we had a huge, take us off, a huge inflow day. I'm going to pull this out just a little bit
And that
to
inflow was all at the end of the day, like the market on close and balance, which was the end of the month. A
4.5
lot of
billion or
hedge
something.
funds, yeah, it was
Yeah.
4.5 billion on SPY. It was 1.5 billion on Nasdaq. So you have end of month rebalancing, you have hedge funds buying, you have scheduled things happening that all came through at the end of the day, plus some short covering. That explains what Friday was. But
Yeah.
paper, I know you can explain this even better. That there's your inflows, but the bigger picture is still not great. And then you have a perfect recipe of short covering and just end of month, like not even
Yeah.
window dressing, just buying and rebalancing. But then from there, you're like, okay, that's a thin structure that was created. Like a 15-minute candle basically ripped us up a couple
Definitely.
percent.
And
That doesn't usually hold.
yeah. So here's that 15-minute candle on SPY here. I mean, this is that day. It's a huge like boosh, right? And that's what we got, right? And so from this day, so here's our inflow. And even on like ADD is advanced decliners, right? So we have same kind of thing, just right into the back half of the day. A lot of this to me, I would look at it as short covering. What I would say is on the bottom left of my screen, this is the tick chart. And I know a lot of day traders will look at this and be like, oh, okay, they use this intraday. For me, I'm going to use it more like from a trend perspective. And so like there's a line on my charts, it's a zero line. This is the box. Most of the day's volume, I would say is over that zero line, right? So most of the day except for a little bit in the afternoon, we were still trending above the zero line in terms of the tick chart. So we were seeing, okay, exhausting sellers. And on the volume profile, I won't say profile, on the net flows, to me, what I'm looking at is like, here's big outflow day. We're getting a big outflow day, but then the outflows are kind of like smaller, little bit of inflow. People are not really getting bullish just yet. And then when the days do get bad, and we can line this up with SPY just for a second. What days? So this is the day before. When the days do get bad, and this is that day right here, it feels bad on the chart, but when you look at this, it's not like the sellers are subsiding, right? So sellers are actually not nearly as strong. And this, I think, is just a full-blown short cover kind of bounce. And I think that we're seeing a little bit of that today. So where does that bring us? I think it brings us back to today, where right now we're seeing like pretty neutral net flows to the like into the market. And I'll just pull this a little bit lower. But the only problem I have is that this one day, our Friday net flow day, is just so strong. I'd have to pull back to like way over here where we saw something that kind of strong, right? So this is, I don't even know, like December, right? Coming into the new year. So this is really high. I think that sets us up for a bit of a bounce. As we look forward, like again, tick is pretty neutral. I'd say we're about split between positive and negative. Advanced decliners, we're still pretty neutral. Definitely positive, but just barely positive, if that makes sense. So I think that sets up for a lot of chop, maybe not necessarily trending right now. And I do think overall, if we do end up chopping for a bit, that's probably going to be best case scenario for the market. And if we do get a sell-off day, what I'm going to be looking for is really like, what are those sellers weaker than they were on Thursday? So in the meantime, I'd like to see buyers come in, but I don't expect them to be nearly as strong as they were on Thursday or on Friday. But sellers, I want to see this selling like be sub 30 or above 35 mil on the net flow chart here. So that's my read on the internals right now. Pretty neutral, but mostly short covering. And I'd like to see more. What's the word? I'd like to see more like choppy action than and not really super concerned with a lot of trendiness. I need to get back to my 8 box here. Back to where I was. There it is. Cool. Gold, dollar coming down a little bit too. This is the one thing where I'm like, okay, I want to see the safety trade unwind. So bonds going higher. This is TLT. Bonds going higher. This is not really what I want to see right now. I think this has a lot to do with the NFP coming at the end of the month or the end of the week. So towards next week and maybe towards the end of the week, I'd like to see TLT reverse course and come back down. That's actually going to tell me that we're probably out of the weeds from that safety trade, or at least, the 10-year yield itself. So the yield itself, oh, okay, TLT going up. No, yeah. So the yield coming down, this is telling me, yeah, there's still demand in that safety trade. So not exactly, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that to kind of turn around. Similar thing with gold. I think gold has popped up essentially to resistance. I'm short gold right now still, but I do think that this could probably go sideways for a bit. So I'm not super, I'll give this a little bit, but if it doesn't break range to the downside soon, like by this week, I'll probably cut this. And if it does go any higher than 270, I'm out of the shorts. All right. TOSO, turn on after equities tab. All right. I'll have to find that now that I've shut it down. Appreciate that though. Is that in the settings? I don't know. Under equities. Oh, okay,
NVIDIA's making a new low of day, by the way.
I found it. Thank you for that. All right, so I'm gonna scroll through. I'm gonna get my analysis chart up here. Again, I'm not really trying to make any major calls right now personally for trading. I think what you guys are asking for is like, where are we gonna be net? So I know nvda is gonna be crucial. Holy moly, dude! What the? So 123 is the $3 trillion mark. This is the extension up here from this consolidation. From this consolidation, if we were out of, as long as we were out of the box, we could be seeing this. We are firmly back in the box. Dude, did you know the box takes us really to $100?
Yes.
You did?
I did measure that.
All right. Well, this is a weekly chart. He's not triggering short just yet. What I would do, it's not triggering long. What I do is I'm going to take this. This is 116. So this is kind of an interesting level right now. We're going to call that a price of interest. So again, if this is the last low here, first of all, that would, from a trading perspective, that would be a stop. That's 113. The low before the last low is 116. That held last week. I don't know, man. This is literally right on it. So if NVIDIA does get in this box right here, this is now a daily perspective. It has to hold. It technically has to hold. It can breach this like for a little bit, but it can't really close below and open below that box to be healthy. Otherwise, quite frankly, this looks like 97s or near 100s. That is just ugly chart right now, I gotta say. So this is it. This is like your line in the sand. Oh God, it's getting worse the more I'm zooming in right now.
Yeah. I was waiting on you to
It's
go a
like,
little
yeah,
bit
yeah, yeah.
deeper into it here.
Um,
It's not a fun thing to look at, and they are below Microsoft again in the market cap.
Microsoft? Really?
Microsoft's at 2.9, and Nvidia is currently at 2.8.
All right, let me get like real granular here. So it could be this or it could be this. But I do see reaction level. It's like right in here. I don't know, man. All right, so reaction level is 116.25. Right here, big buyer steps in. You get a little choppy. Buyer step in again. Right here. You guys see it? Right here. I don't know if this is going to hold, but if you're long, you'd like to see this hold. Otherwise, depending on your time frame, again, investor versus trader, if it doesn't hold, oh man, in the right here, dude, really? I might have to buy this, dude. I don't know. I kind of want to call bullshit on this, but we'll see. If it doesn't hold, if you're an investor, then you're looking at, well, I'm going to get a better opportunity, and it might be closer, just sub 100. And at the same reaction point, everybody that was buying in that area, what you want to see is you want to see them continue to buy. Otherwise, this is going to be a big pivot, because if these guys sell, if they have stops on, right, you're going to get a stop run, which could be a big move. I don't mean big, but a quick move to fill in this fair value, at least into the 107s, 108s, which is the last area before this that they did step in. Is you got a lot of people buying right in this area. This goes back a long time. So, wow, I didn't realize how many there were. Oh, geez, dude. So it is here.
This is definitively a big spot.
This is a tough one, man. Not gonna lie. So I'm gonna do another measurement here. So top of the box into the bottom box. Okay, of this consolidation, swing low to swing high, this is also a 618 retracement. Interestingly enough, of that consolidation. So I don't like to see it get tested that many times. If it does,
That's where I'm having the issue. Like this is like the third time it's testing here under the 200-day again.
yeah, this morning's rejection off the 200-day. Look, if you're long term, this means a buy is coming soon, and you might get it lower than what it is. My other concern is that there's a lot of consolidation right in here on these SMAs, these daily simple moving averages. They're very condensed, like very condensed. So they might still continue to go like this, and you're going to get maybe at a certain point like a death cross. If this goes any lower, if this does go any lower, then you will get those charters coming out and being like, oh, there's a death cross, and you're probably going to get your buy in that $100 range. Is it 90? This is a tough one. I think if you're long term, you're probably okay, but this is not in an uptrend. Here's what I'll tell you. It's not in an uptrend unless it's over 123. We know that 123 is a $3 trillion mark. That's a definitive flippening. If it's over that, then you're in an uptrend. And I would probably stop my buying. But depending on, again, your time frame, if you're long term, below that is accumulation for you. And you might be thinking maybe you get it around $100. I think that would be a steal. But the momentum coming in and the setup coming into here now, technically not looking great. And then we have GTC coming. M's got a jet too. We have GTC coming mid-March. That's March 15th. So this might be selling the news before the news. Then you're going to get a dividend. Yeah, this trappy for the shorts, I think. Dude, I don't know. Why is it accelerating? Why is it accelerating right now? What's going on? Oh my. Yeah, it's going to be a quick flush. All right, Ampad to jet, but that's where we are. Another one, couple ones, Palantir. We'll take a look at. I don't know. I just kind of not buying it. Palantir today, this blue line, big 50-day simple moving average. This is good. This is constructive. What you're going to want to see play out is some more consolidation in this area. You can breach it, but again, very much not out of the weeds yet, not out of the woods yet. It's a breach. You got to let it breathe. It's a nice retest. I think the trajectory, usually you get to 120. If you fail up there, you're going to usually see 75s, 80s, which is exactly, by the way, what we saw in Bitcoin, 75, 80s. Don't know if it's out of the weeds yet. It's constructive, but it's the first kind of breach of this downtrend, which is very steep, mind you. So this will come in. You're not over the 20. This is not out of the weeds until you're over 100, really. So again, what you'd really like to see hold here is the 82s. Otherwise, if you lose 82, you're going to go back to the bottom of this range, which would be low 70s on Palantir. Constructive, you can be cautiously optimistic. I think this is where I'm like, okay, if we do bottom, great. There could be a little bit more pain, but how long-lived or short-lived is the pain, right? I think that's where we are. June, you rock. She's in. I'm just going through these. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. I'm not going to check out Coke. That's kind of boring. We can check out Walmart. So this would be like the safety trades, I guess, if you will. Walmart's stuck in a box. So in between these 20 and 50-day simple moving average, this is your box. I don't think the center line's right around 97. Put that on the back burner. That ain't going to go anywhere for a while. roughly down 50% pre-DeepSeek. Yeah. What's good to cancel? That's GTC is good till cancel. GTC. Sorry, GTC is the NVIDIA. It's not NVIDIA. GTC 2025. It's in San Jose. I don't have an invite, but GTC is the next big catalyst. So if you're looking for a catalyst, it's this March 17th through 21st. This is in my backyard. I could probably walk there. But yeah, so this is the next catalyst. So until then, that's why I'm like, it's a little funky, dude, because I'm on GTC. Watching NVIDIA fall ahead of GTC, which is their primary, that's like the AI Super Bowl. There it is. So I'm not, this is happening live. We're on it, man. NVIDIA about to go red. I mean, it's already red on the day, but when I say red, I'm actually looking more like below Friday's low. And I think what I really want to see is like, okay, as this happens, right? Because I think we're going to see this across the board on a lot of stuff. Do the shorts cover again? And look at this. So this is interesting. I'm going to drop down even more. Don't get excited. Very close. This is live. You want to see it live? Do they bounce it? Are they buying it again? This is the level. It's literally on it. So that's great. But what I'm going to need to see here is I'm going to need to see a much bigger bounce, lock in a higher low. So I'm going to need to see at least this breach here. See, that's that last low. I'd like to see it get all the way up here, which is like $2 higher before I can be like, oh, okay. And then if that happens, then I want to see this area defend right in here. So anything like this is what you're going to want to see. Just because something gets to your level does not mean you don't want to buy it. Like Tesla got to my 350 level and then it continued to go lower. So like, just chill. No need to be in a rush. I think all this stuff will wait. That's not a very convincing bounce right here at all on NVIDIA. So we'll have to see. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Let's take a look at our hoodie here. Someone's asking me, am I buying more right now? No. I'm going to need a major, discount for me to get longer. Weekly count is neutral. Right now, we're firmly inside of yesterday's range, or last week's range. Neutral on the weekly perspective. Daily, here's where we are. So I'm going to take this kind of downtrend, and I'm going to pick it up on the 3 hour. It's a very steep downtrend from that earnings report. It can come in a little bit. We're getting a little squeezy. I still need to see this area hold. So like I would have to see 40s for me to get really interested in buying more, which would suck. But it's, again, I got to be realistic. This is not quite out of the woods yet. So we're over that. I'd love to see it go sideways, get stuck in this like simple moving average kind of ping pong. But this is rejecting right off the 20-day simple moving average today. Again, 55s was crucial. If we're over 55, it's going back up. But until then, we're still consolidating and going to create this little base, right? I'd like to see this area back over here continue to hold right here where they were buying before. So that's what I'm looking for. I'd like to see this area. This is sub 48. I'm a little bit of a buyer, but I can get longer, lower. So no rush on this guy for me. Again, not out of the woods yet by any means. I think the 40s would be the dip buy, but I don't know that we're going to get there yet. I was actually concerned. If we bounce, I'll be concerned about my $50 short puts even getting assigned. I do have some $40 short puts too, but Not many of those, just because I'd rather sell them when we're actually there trading at that level. Don't tell them it. Hymns. All right, we'll take a look at this. TSM news at 1:30. All right, is there TSM news at 1:30? I'll take a look at hymns. Hymns around $40 was more interesting. Yeah, again, still stuck. This I like hymns. I don't have a big position at all on this. I like hymns as a company. I don't know that I like it here at this spot per se. I think this was the ideal right here around the 35 area. You're a little bear flaggy here. So bear flag meaning like if this was a bull flag, like if I would inverse this chart, like, oh, it's a bull flag, right? Here, I'll show you what I mean. So I hit Alt I, I'll inverse this. This would look like a bull flag, but that's an upside down chart. The actual way this looks, it looks like this. So I don't want to see these lower ends breach. Because a fail could bring you into those like high 20s again. Very shorted stock, very high short interest. So this is really where the bulk of the demand is in the 20s. But yeah, if it loses this structure, essentially, if it loses this mountain peak, so we go peak to peak, then you're going to go into the next one, which is going to come in the form of this type of trade, sub 40. If you lose it, then you get into the 30s, something like that, and you hit this area. So essentially, if you lose 39s, just right here, I'm not too concerned, but it does not. It's not a net new long. Nothing out there is like slam the buy. Check on my Amazon. I'm short Amazon right now. I have a debit spread on this to 190, which is near that prior all-time high retest. Again, I'm looking at these volume profiles. I just, they look pretty weak. So you got a little bit of a shelf in here. You definitely lost this shelf. We're going to come into here, and that's my ultimate target. So that's volume profiles, if you will. How long does this last? It could be fast. It could be fast and furious. But this low here on Amazon that I was looking at last week, it was quickly bought up, but the recovery here was not really convincing. And that's kind of where I was. So this is 217 on Amazon, AMZN. This is where the last buyers were stepping in. And what I needed to see to like close a short or to get long, one of the two, is these buyers, these prior buyers turn into net new buyers, like right in here. And that's just not what I was seeing. So I think this may not be over yet, because we definitely didn't see this cohort of market participants turn into new buyers. This prior support for now looks like it has become new overhead resistance. So still short Amazon. I like it for the year, but I like it a whole lot better if I can get this sub 190 into this 188 range again. I would love it at that point, but not yet. Definitely not going up right now. Goggles looking I just don't understand. I do think that this is overdone. And then the googl, this is just, and some of these things I can look around. I'm like, none of this stuff really makes sense. I'm not a big fan of Google, but again, this is the Willow move right here, right? At 176, this is Willow, right? So at 176, anything below, you're getting the Willow, which is like their quantum for free. I will say, like, I think that was just the whole thing a little early. But 160s would have been that last entry point. You're coming into it pretty hot and heavy. I just think that this is closer to the end. anything else, but it's in the 160 level for Google, the goggles. I'm not a big Google fan, but man, they're really trying to make me a shareholder again because I just feel like that's a little bit discounted. I don't know. Would I rather NVIDIA at $90? Oh, there it is. It didn't hold. Would I rather, guys, markets in mayhem. Yeah. 115s now. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. It's going lower. Yeah. This is wild. Market making no sense. Can I do SoFi? Yeah, SoFi. So SoFi, I think Robert, did you mean SoFi? What volume profile? That was literally, it's just literally just the basic volume profile. No, Raymond, I don't think it's 110. I think it's lower, dude. Well, you mean today? You guys are day trading, sure. So if I'm gonna day trade it, here's my view. So from a day trade perspective, oh, you're already below daily range. These red dots are a daily range. You can't press the short here because your option contracts, when you breach a daily range low, your option contracts are very expensive. Look at this though. Pretty clean rejection off opening range. Doesn't mean it's gonna pop, but we did just see in live some of those 116 buyers turn into sellers, which is yeah, I think net this is in the 90s. I mean, 120, could it go to 75? I suppose so, but I just don't think we're in that kind of a bear market. 106, unless something really changes, but we're about to see some damage. This is just shocking to re-enter my shorts. 588, so 588, that's what we want to see hold today and tomorrow, really. If we lose 588, we do go to 578 on SPY. QQQ, this is definitive. Oh, we're on it. QQQ 503.92. We lose this area as so again, you can see it from a technical perspective here. This is important. But the flusher takes us into these 490s, which is where I was saying, like for March, I would love to be a buyer below the 200-day simple. But for now, this looks like we're coming in hot. Thoughts on Arista? I like Arista below 100. Do I buy it again? This is 88. So I'm not, like I've been saying, I'm not in a big rush to go out and buy anything right now, guys. I mean, literally nothing. This is pretty structurally unsound from a technical perspective. So I have to wait. For a lot of this to change, right? So again, I'm not into sniping lows. This could be in the 80s very easily. I think that's where it would be. But again, just because something gets to my level doesn't mean I'm going to buy it right away, because look, it could easily be down there. Arista, I'm not looking to sell anytime soon. I think same thing with like Astera. I think these dips, we're coming in some structural damage at the index level, and I would expect a lot of these high growth names to get hit pretty much in kind. Kevin, you're about to get booted from the stream. We don't use RSIs. Sorry, it's a joke, not a joke. RSI, I think, is the absolute worst indicator that you could use. Period. End of story. Apple. Look, I love Apple. I like Apple, but I have no delusions here that Apple, from a market perspective, is always resilient until it's not. It's always resilient until it's not. It's simply, and I love it, don't get me wrong, the market's going to correct. If the market's going to correct, Apple's going to correct, and it's just simply going to be the last general to fall, which would put it sub 220. Yeah, you don't. Stop it. RSI is like the worst indicator that you could possibly use. Too funny. Tesla. Oh God. Yeah, Tessie. So on the last test I did, I was like, look, this could be 250s. Everything looking super constructive in the pre-market. It's so deceiving, right? So deceiving. Where does 250s come from? It comes from this area right here, right? So it's below the 200-day. And usually, so I would personally, I like to throw on a 200-day in general. I don't trade around it like that because, like, yes, things can hit it and then boom, come right back down. But I'd rather take something long below their 200 days after I have a higher low like this. This is my preferred type of entry. This purple line, it may come into play. This purple line is a 200-week simple moving average. But again, if that fails, I would do the same thing. I would rather take a higher low below the 200-week. In this instance, don't hate me for this. I want to be long Tesla. But even if Tesla comes in, this is a very high time frame perspective. You're just channeling down right now. There's nothing here telling me that it's going higher. From this perspective, even if 250 fails and we come all the way down to 210s, guys, this is going to be like a textbook retest, even in that event. And you're going to be like, oh, shit. So it can get ugly for a minute, but I think, I did trim a little bit here because I trimmed up a lot of stuff. I wanted to buy more Robinhood. But again, if the market goes, these things are just going to continue on. I think we're closer to the end, meaning like, hey, look, Tesla is what? Tesla is already down 40% from the highs. If it takes another leg, that's maybe like 20% max from here. Yeah, this is drilling hard. I don't think these 200-day simples are going to again, I don't put any weight into this stuff. Technically, intraday maybe bounce, but it's rough. It's Steve. Yeah. TSLQ calls. There you go. Right. Yeah. So I think this is crucial, right? So SPY Qs 588 is the line, right? That's where we gotta see it hold. This was my level coming in hot, 588. And even then, from an intraday perspective, and I'll just clean this up one more time, and then I'll call it for the stream. From this low to this high, this is why you have a little bit of confluence here. 588. This is your golden zone, golden pocket. So you're half of that Friday short covering rally back. Well, we gotta wait. We gotta wait till the close. We gotta wait. There's no major reason to get ultra long. MSTR. I will do this because I did post. I'm not gonna post any more position sizes, people. I got all kinds of crazy DMs. I'm still short. I was short in the pre-market. I was short up here. I didn't add to my shorts. I was short here. I'm basically break even right now. I do think the $200 mark on MSTR is in the cards. That's the 200-day. I just, dude, it's failed. It's failed a lot of stuff here. But again, right back into that overhead resistance supply, if you will. Right back here, what happened? They were not buying it. I saw net new longs like overnight session, but again, that doesn't hold a lot of weight. These prior buyers, I think, are still gone. either they're greedy and they want it lower, but they definitely were not buying into the strength this morning. That's for sure. Same thing for Hood. We're about to fill these gaps. Just is crazy. Oh yeah, Hood's gone below the gap. Well, 48s. Here we are. So we'll have to see. We will have to see. I think it's like when the pain is maxed out, then I'll probably think about getting there. But I'm not maxed in pain by any means here. Definitely not. All right, guys. I appreciate all of you. It's been a wild ride for sure. You know, I do think that we're closer to the end, but it can get more painful. It's usually like when everybody thinks they're about to sell, you know, that's what happens. Why is NVIDIA down? I think, you know, tariff stuff. Like there's a lot of uncertainty. There's all kinds of stuff, right? Block. I actually don't hate XYZ Square. That's very much low end of the box. These long term, I think so. Like something like Square is probably pretty de-risked. It's all the way at the lows. So, but that said, the weak get weaker sometimes if the market really turns around. So there's no reason to not just like, you don't have to go out and buy stuff. Just sit on your hands for a bit. Sit around, sit on your hands, take it easy, and don't be in a rush to get ultra uber long, right? Look at those internals. You gotta watch. You gotta see things turn around. You gotta see flows coming in. You know, it's not, again, here, I'll pull this out. Detached. This is the net flow view, right? So these are the internals. Like we started positive, but we're saying, look, if the outflows are weaker than this, I think by the end of the day, that's constructive. But this was a big inflow day, probably overly big. So we're starting at, you know, net flow positive. We just flipped negative. We can look at ADD, just barely flipping negative. Tick for the day. Now starting to trend below the zero line. So, I mean, that's how things change. It can change by the end of the day. It can easily change by the end of the day. So, yeah, I don't want to get too over my skis right around here. Net outflows, but I don't want to see a big exhaustive net outflow day today. That's just going to tell me, look, if the selling pressure is continuing, yeah, it's not good. So I think you can really look at that. Deep outflow days. Okay, fine. But this big inflow day. We'll see. I wasn't sharing any of that, was I? Here. It was over here. Net flow. So this is the outflow. It's not as bad as it was, but intraday, we just kind of went bounced up, now negative. Just going negative on advanced decliners. So just be cautious out there. Market is touchy. Too touchy. Apparently, Miss Cleo says she's trappy. She's going to get you the second that you think it's going to be done. Yeah, ADD, just not flipping negative. But alpha's not really surpassing this just yet. We'll see. Tick, cumulative tick. Still kind of neutral. Like if the back half of the day is like below 0, 0, 0, it's not going to be good. But we'll see. Still early. All right, guys. That's it for now. I love y'all. And I will look up dog in house on fire. Oh, yeah. This is fine. This is fine. Sipping my coffee. I'm short Baba now. What you mean? I haven't even looked at it. I'm already short. I was short last week. All right, guys. I'm out. I love y'all. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.